Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Why Did I Lose? The Prismata series in which I look at viewer games and tell you why I think you lost. This episode, I'm going to try something slightly different. I got a comment from someone on YouTube? Yes, it was a person commenting on YouTube who said that they don't much care for... They wish I would just start on the replays right away. And I'm not clear on whether they mean just look at the replay and don't bother doing an analysis of the set plus playing against Masterbot, or if they mean do the replay first and then do the Masterbot game after. I'm not sure. I plan to do the analysis anyway. I chose to do the Masterbot analysis first because I thought that it would... watching a game of this played out might bias my thinking towards what is the best approach to the game, which could make me miss something important, or make me just say, oh, you know, like play along with what the players did and so on. But you know, we'll try it. We'll try it this time and see how it turns out. So this game comes to us from Miccull, I should say, who is player 2 here. Doesn't write anything specific, just that there's lots of possible lines, might be an interesting video. And I don't know. I don't even know how to start this replay without commenting on what people what I think should happen here. But I guess let's watch the replay, and then I can use that as a foundation to, you know, maybe there's some synergies here that I might miss. And watching the game will help, I suppose. I don't know. We'll see. So both players going third NG. Don't think I agree with that at all, actually. Why are we doing this? There's no big absorber here. Polywall is good soak, you know, so the set is going to be kind of defensive, sure. But Ebb Turbine is like a perfectly fine way to get more drones, right? It lets you treat blue as though it were energy in a way, right? You can spend 9 and 2 energy to get 3 income per turn, which is a lot like having drones available. And then there's like Oride Core to let you spend blue cheaply once you have enough Ebb Turbines, you know, 1 or 2 or something. I mean, obviously, yeah, like, sure, I guess they're doing it because they want to get a series, and that you require a lot of income for that. But you can get a lot of income in this set without a third engineer. I don't think I would go third NG here. But let's see how things develop. Of course, drones. Sure, of course, conduit from player 2 makes sense. Everything you want to get here, like every plan you could conceivably come up with involves getting green eventually, and now is the convenient time. Player 1 starting Blast Forge first. I think that's fine. Ebb Turbine's a good card. Yeah. DD4C seems fine. Now finally getting a Blast Forge, but I guess deciding to stop droning now. I mean, in fairness, I think that both players already have plenty of drones. I think it probably is right to stop droning here. It looks like we're going for Windsor, which I think, given the presence of Polywall in the set, I don't... Oh, and Plexocell? I don't think Windsor is very good, right? There's just fantastically good soak available in the set, right? Very, very good ways to defend against bursts of attack by just throwing in these huge health units. And they've already built enough economy to build like a lot of them. You could like double Polywall Plexo, and like that just eats a Windsor shot right there. You probably wouldn't do all of those because that's, you know, so much your opponent could probably deny you absorb. But, you know, something along those lines. Now you Polywall Wall Plexo, absorbing onto your old Polywall, or your old wall, something like that. Onto a Steel Splitter, maybe. So I don't love Windsor in this set. I would rather aim for, like, arms race, and then try to get a Asteres? Like, maybe get a second conduit before you start building arms races? Something like that, maybe? Not sure of the details. Reservoir is, like, kind of interesting. But I don't think you're that keen to spend your green on force fields when Plexo and Asteria are in the set. So, yeah, and likewise, I don't want red that badly. Yeah, well, I mean, okay, arms races. Arms race does seem good, so you'll want a red, I guess. Yeah, maybe actually we're now going double arms race here instead of Windsor. I like that. Maybe I'm prematurely criticizing this opening. I think this is a pretty good time, good setup for double arms race, which is a pretty good first attacker. Okay, so let's see how this goes. No, Windsor. Okay. Yeah. Not really a fan. And then, yeah, of course, I thought this might happen. We're now getting arms races, which sync up with the Windsor, you know, the Tarsiers do anyway, but the whole point of Windsor is to pressure your opponent into, like, having trouble defending. It's not super efficient as, like, a sustained attacker. And by giving your opponent 8 engineers, you're sort of, like, making it not that hard for them to defend the Windsor. I would rather just, like, build the arms races first. And then probably never get a Windsor, but you can if you want. But I don't know, if you just build, like, 4 arms races to start with, and then maybe you try to get a Asteres, but probably you have so much tech that there's no chance, right? You just build, like, Tarsiers and Splitters or something. Tarsiers and Oride cores. I don't know. Something like that. Probably Tarsiers and Splitters. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we get the arms races now, making the Windsor look pretty silly. Oh gosh, more of them. Oh, God, we're not absorbing. Ah, neither player is absorbing. You guys are killing me. Why is this happening? Each of you clicked a Steel Splitter, dealing 1 damage to the opponent, and taking 2 damage yourself. Why would you make that trade? Okay, yeah, this click here was definitely killing a Steel Splitter, or an Engineer, in exchange for taking 2 damage, which does not seem like a good trade to me. This guy had not previously had a chance to hold back a Steel Splitter because he just built his first 2. But now you have a chance. Why are we doing 1 damage in order to take 2 damage? It doesn't make sense to me. And indeed, with the engineers that you've given your opponent with arms race and Polywall in the set, there's just not that much trouble defending the Windsor. Now, of course, you have so many drones, you can Windsor several times, but you generally would like to put your opponent under more pressure than this. You're giving the value of arms race is that your enemy's engineers do them little good. If the engineers are actually doing good for them, then, like, arms race is just not good. It's buying a Tarsier and a Gauss Cannon and a Steel Splitter, basically, right? All of which are mediocre at best. The value is that you get them for a discounted price, and you pay for that value by giving your opponent engineers, which is, if they want the engineers, that's not good. And if they don't want the engineers, then it's valuable. Here, by building Windsor into arms race, you're making them get value out of these engineers very quickly so that the arms races are not very good. By just building more arms races, you make the engineer value come in much more slowly, and the arms races are better. Reservoir, I don't know. Wow, how did we get 3 green? What happened here? Are we getting... I don't know, just... What? Are we just saving up for a giant Reservoir turn or something? we don't have enough gold to buy Asteries as well as all this stuff in the base set. So I don't think it should be saved up for Asteri. I don't know, I guess you could buy 2 Tarsiers and 2 Oride cores or something, but I don't think you want those. So I disagree with these 2 conduits. Are there drones left to buy? There are. So that would probably have been a better choice than conduits. Maybe 1 conduit is... No, there's only 1 arms race left, so you don't really want to double buy that. Maybe if you want to buy like arms race and Reservoir or something like that, I guess it could be okay. And I guess with Plexocell in the set, like, you'll never be sad about having green. Maybe this is fine. It wouldn't occur to me, but maybe it's fine. This arms race into losing splitters on defense doesn't seem great to me. I'd rather just build a wall and like Tarsier or something like that. And then later we can get an arms race when we're not being Windsored. These drones also seem pretty optimistic. The enemy's gonna have 8 attack, and what do we have for defense? Like nothing. I'd rather just buy NGs if we're buying anything that costs no tech. Okay, so now we finally... Oh no, we're still doing it. We're still not absorbing. I thought this was the same turn. No, this is a new turn where we're choosing not to absorb. Okay, so... the biggest thing I would say so far in this game is that, like, absorb is really, 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 really good. It is, like... It has been called the strongest mechanic in the game of Prismata. Being able to have your enemy attack you and you don't lose units equal to the amount that they attacked for, right? That's a pretty big deal. When you can do it here, like... of course, you'd love not to have to hold Steel Splitter. You'd love to attack with it. But when you pay 2 health, i.e. the cost of not absorbing, for the benefit of dealing 1 damage, you have to be in a quite asymmetrical position for that to be worthwhile. And here, I don't think the Windsor is nearly enough to argue for that. But okay, we get our first Windsor turn, and we're choosing not to click it. Okay. This might not be a disaster. The opponent is currently... Like, what do we get if we click it? We kill a Steel Splitter, which is 3 health, and then I guess it must be 12 NGs. I think this is correct to click, because if you don't click, your opponent just like has extra defense lying around forever. They can, if they want, pretend you clicked it and make sure they have this many NGs around. I'd rather click it now to try to get to the second Windsor click and hope that, like, with all this pressure we're applying from attack, from arms races and so on, that the second click gives them some trouble. Especially note that the second click will come in, like, just shortly before force fields go off for them. If you delay much longer, then you give them I don't know. Maybe that's not meaningful, but it seems like there's something about the correlation of the timing of these two, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. Okay, yeah, we are building a Steri. Floating a red and buying an Oride core. I don't like it. Asteri is a good unit, like, no question. But, like, we're wasting tech to get it, and we'd love to save as much green as we can, so I don't think it's really that, like, shockingly good. Yeah. So, like, there are situations where not clicking Windsor is good, but I don't think this game is one of them. Like, if you're only ever going to click Windsor once, or if you're building up a bunch of freeze threat or something. Here, the opponent, like, is holding back a bunch of Steel Splitters to deal with the threat of Windsor. Also, wasn't it too many? I'm not sure. Yeah, but You may think that by holding back Windsor, you're forcing them to continue over defending with Steel Splitters, but wouldn't it be better to just kill the Steel Splitters? which you can actually do. You would also take away all their granularity for future turns, because they'll want to keep 2 Steel Splitters alive this way. Huh. Okay, yeah. And it's now the 3rd turn that we've not clicked Windsor. So if we had clicked it on the first chance, this would now be our 2nd Windsor click. We've gone full circle and missed like a full 15 damage. Obviously, it cost us some drones to get that, but it's well worth it. That's like why the Windsor is a good unit. And you know, the opponent is just doing way more damage than we are, right? They're dealing like, okay, they're threatening 20 and only dealing 14, but 14 is still a lot when you're only dealing like, how much are we doing anyway? Well, we're doing about as much, I guess, but we're having to hold a bunch of splitters back. I don't know. Here comes the reservoir. Oh, how exciting. Now we're finally firing Windsor to kill off the force fields, I guess. Is that the right defense? Would it not be better to lose 2 NGs to save a Rhino? I don't know, maybe the Rhino damage doesn't matter. Seems like it does, though. The Rhino damage would make opponent keep Rhino instead of Splitter. I don't know. Okay, and now we give up. Because it's going to be forever till Windsor goes off. We have no defense. And our attack is worse than the enemy attack. Okay. So, what were the main mistakes I saw here? Particularly from player 2, Miccull. Miccull? I don't know. I don't like Windsor, but Windsor is not a unit that I understand well, and it could well be that Windsor is correct here, in which case this seems fine, I guess. I would have built an attacker instead of more drones. It's sort of a crime to waste red. You could even build a reservoir and all these drones if you want. Give you some sense of eventuality. But okay, fine. So we built a Windsor. Again, I don't like double arms race after Windsor. I think you should just build wall and then like Tarsiers and Splitter. Like how much money do we have? We have 23. That's wall is 5. 2 Tarsiers is 4 more. 8 more, I mean, which is 13. Splitter is 19. We can even build a drone. Why not? Also, did either player actually use their ebb turbines? No, even as things were becoming quite dire. Ah, we clicked an ebb, finally. Not enough, though, I suspect. I feel like everybody over-droned here. Like, there was just a mutual agreement not to build any attackers ever. And it led to the game getting into sort of a weird state. So, let's see. Is it interesting for me? No, I think I actually didn't finish saying, like, what. So I didn't love the 3rd engineer. I think ebb turbine means you don't need to make that commitment. I don't like Windsor first, but again, I could be wrong. I don't like these Steel Splitter clicks from either player. They're just like giving away free money. I don't understand never clicking Windsor. I think you could have gotten a much better position if you had actually attacked your opponent on occasion. I say that somewhat sarcastically, but like I think it's true. You're basically, you built this Windsor, this very expensive attacker, and you're treating it like an endotherm kit, right? You're saying that it's there to threaten to attack, but you don't actually want to attack with it. It's, you know, it's pretty good that it actually attacks, and that's an important part of the unit. I'm glad we finally got a wall, though. Right, and the third conduit, I think 3 is too many, maybe 2 is fine. You could build like Tarsiers, Splitters, Gauss Cannons with like Plexo Cell for later. I don't know. So third, maybe third is fine because of Plexo. It's just like such an outstanding unit. I also don't really know whether Reservoir should see play here. It certainly was quite imposing in this approach, but yeah, so I would have done something much less committal. And I wonder, like, if it's useful to watch me play this against Masterbot, or if I should try to play it against one of the lines these guys were taking, right? I think I'll start with a Masterbot game. No, versus computer? Yes. Load from replay. I'm player 2. Yes, this is the correct set. Just played against Masterbot and like sort of outlined the opening at least that I thought would be reasonable. And then I can go back and try the somewhat higher effort approach. Of trying to like show what both players would do if I'm doing the thing that I think is reasonable. What? Masterbot, you're so weird. Ebb Turbine's a good unit. You should buy it. Can I just get arms races yet? I'd sort of like another Blast Forge first. And also a wall. Well, I guess we're not getting that. I could get a Polywall, which seems like it would protect me for quite a while against whatever it is he's doing. It's going to take him a while to get 6 attack, isn't it? But I think a wall is just fine. Get a few more drones. Next turn I can double arms race for 16 and still fit in a drone. No, I need an Animus. Okay, double arms race. I have 16 income. I can fit in double arms race here, right? Seems okay. And I can do it for 2 turns in a row, which is pretty nice. You know, his Polywall gets okay value, right? What are we attacking for next turn? 8, 10? Well, it means he can build another Polywall to get decent value if he wants. Kind of stinks. What if I cancel one of these? Now we're attacking for 6, 8. Now a second Polywall is like not that amazing for him. So maybe I build Tarsier Splitter. Oh, Tarsier Oride Core, right? Now I can attack for 7, click Oride Core to get money. Hang on, now I'm not building any arms races? Is that really correct? 6. Yeah, I guess it might be, actually. Just build the 2 arms races, don't need to go crazy on a 4th. This lets me punish his Polywall pretty well. Maybe get a Windsor next turn? I don't think so. I could get a reservoir. I don't think I'm gonna have that much green though. This is plenty of tech for me. Probably too much. You could argue I'll therefore be floating green and should get a reservoir. But I want my Tarsier, right? So I think I'll just do this. And we'll go ahead and attack for 4 so the Masterbot feels better about this polywall. And the endgame stats correctly display what amount of attack I'm getting. There we go. Now this turn we're attacking for 4, 7, 9. Which, you know, polywall from him is like okay value, right? But what if I do get that Windsor? He's threatening to buy one himself, which I would not be very happy with. So I think that this Windsor is going to arrive at a pretty good time when he's starting to run low on engineers. Yeah. So maybe like this. I'm not so sure about this Windsor. Like I said, I don't really understand Windsor all that well. But I think I'd much rather be Windsoring before him than after, if I had my choice. And here it's easily worth an ebb click to get out one more splitter. And it helps me get an engineer as well. We're going to have Plexos. Well, Plexo's pretty scary against Windsor. Probably it's going to have to be just force fields. Six damage. I guess we get a wall here. And I think we're honestly just getting another wall in preparation for the Windsor turn. Maybe a couple rhinos to pressure him some more. And then next turn we're buying like a couple walls and 6 force fields or something. Assuming he actually manages to do anything. Which it doesn't look like he will. He just doesn't have any attackers and I have a million. Yeah, he's not actually defending. Even with 2 Plexos. So we're only doing this. Keep the Rhino back. Oh yeah, polywalls, right. Alright, that defends. If he chooses not to click the Windsor this turn and deny me Plexo value, like, fine, I don't care. Go ahead, man. I guess I can click this Rhino if I click Ebb to build wall? Sure. Oh, here you go. And I'll build an NG, I guess. Okay, he gives up. So a much lower econ game, right? Where the highest I ever got up to was like low 20s, and that was because I was selling a drone that turn. You know, really, I had 16 drones, I think, and then I started selling them. I don't know. Maybe I made it. It was like an Oride click as well as an Ebb click or something. I'm not sure exactly. Turn 10. Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it? But I actually did build another drone on 8, so 9 was my last turn of actual extra income. I don't totally understand where all this money came from. So I clicked the Oride core. This gave me $19. I built basically a drone and the Oride core this turn, which is 3 extra income, getting me from 16 to 19, I guess. And then I didn't click the Oride core, but I did click the ebb, giving me $1 extra this turn. And from then on, I was mostly like clicking ebb all game. Yeah, okay. So I think that there's just not enough defense in this set to justify the like super high economy route both players took. And additionally, Ebb Turbine allows you to get a high economy without needing the third engineer. It lets you invest in a blast forge instead, which is something that you quite want. Quite want is wrong. You would be quite happy to have, I guess. So let's see what would happen if, as player 2, you tried my line instead against someone who's planning to go still for what this player 1 did. Did we build Conduit first? No, we built Blast Forge first because of Ebb, that's right. And I didn't get any more tech at this stage. Right? I was just gonna like pick up an Animus and another Blast Forge real soon. Here we get an Ebb Turbine, some drones, and a Conduit, I think. This doesn't seem right. Is this really what I did? What am I doing with my blue this turn? Oh, Masterbot made me defend, so I built a wall. Okay. But we could get like an Oride core or an Ebb Turbine or something, since those are both useful eventually. Just need to make sure we have like 16 bucks lying around next turn. Second Ebb might be too much. No, because we're building this Blast Forge anyway. Maybe this, you know, well, it's okay. Get a moderate number of drones. And, well, actually a pretty large number of drones, right? We're at like 19 income. That's pretty high considering the lack of an absorber in the set. There's good soak, which makes, you know, sort of justifies this, but and at this point I sort of lost track of what was going on in the main line here. What was this player up to? I think he probably got Animus Blast Forge, right? Because this guy was sort of threatening Windsurge around this time, and we threatened it back. And, I don't know, let's get a splitter. No, he actually got a second Ebb. I think both players had 2 Ebbs. Or this guy had 2 and this guy had 1? I don't remember. Something like this, let's say. So let's, by the way, pause to recollect, like, how are the 2 players looking? Player 2 has 4 fewer drone economy and the same amount of tech, but more green lying around, and they're a turn ahead, right? By not getting the third engineer, we left ourselves a tiny bit behind on drones, but ahead on tempo. Whereas, you know, normally that's the position player 1 is in. If both players mirror, do a similar opening. And then player 1 is ahead on tempo, but a little bit behind on drones. We've elected to be first mover here instead, which means we don't need any walls. That's quite nice. We can comfortably double arms race and like build a drone. And now this player, who like thought the Windsor was a good idea, suddenly is not seeming so good, right? Like you kind of want a wall to protect against this, or maybe a poly wall. I suppose you still build the Windsor anyway. And you get a reservoir, because you thought that was good in the game, so why not? But you're not, you know, you're not getting much value this way. And I don't know, it's like hard for me to even see what you're supposed to, how do you like convincingly buy a Windsor here? I don't know, it's a mystery. I guess you just buy it and lose some engineers. After all, that's what your opponent gave to you. But I think Reservoir is wrong. You might as well get some Rhino Absorb. Maybe? Well, maybe not, since we don't have any attackers anyway. Ugh. Ugh. I don't know. This? Have 1 million engineers, buy 1 million drones? I don't know. And the opponent's still not attacking, so we like just build the rest of the arms races. and a drone. Could be a conduit. Conduit might actually be better. But like, what are we doing? We have 21 bucks. That's 2 Tarsiers and 2 Steel Splitters, right? So I don't need any more tech. Now we can build like an arms race, but it's really starting to feel criminal not to absorb, right? So I think we're building a wall. And I don't know, this just like does not feel good for this player for me. And maybe I made some bad decisions for them earlier. Maybe they should have reacted differently to this arms race threat, but I think both players just were a little bit too excitable about... well, let's restart the analysis, by the way, and see how close I got to their actual lines. Blast Forge first, yeah. Ebb double drone conduit. Ebb double drone animus. Ah, so he didn't get the second Blast Forge yet. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. But so overall, I feel like that line would put player 1 under a lot more pressure. And with Polywall and probably just not Plexocell because of Windsor fake threat, but Force Field, you can hold off the first Windsor, and after that, player 1 just has way too few attackers. They've invested too much time and resources into the Windsor, which I think is just not right in this set. There's too much soak, and if you build arms race, you give your opponent even more free soak. And there's no big absorbers, so why are we going for high econ? I assume the answer was for Asteri, but I think that's the wrong idea. You want to judge your economy size based on the big defenders in the set, because that's sort of the bigger the absorbers are, the less advantageous it is to go for attack quickly, and so you have more time to build up attackers. Drones. And so that's based mostly on like how big the defenders are, not on what attacker you want to focus on. Once you've chosen an economy size, you can try to figure out what are the attackers I want to be spending that money on. Here, I think the economy size is like below 20, for sure. And even that's a bit higher than I would normally say, because like Ebb Turbine is just like pretty nuts, and Polywall is good soak, which helps a little bit with defense. But you don't want to be aiming for like how high did the players get in this, by the way? I guess I have to leave so I can view the replay again so that I can look at the stats. Can't see those in analysis mode. You know, the players got up into the 30s, both of them. Well, okay. Player 2 only had this because of an ebb click, but still, high 20s I think is like too much. It would be better to just buy some attackers sooner. So that is one of my pieces of feedback. The other is that ebb clicks are good. Another is that absorbing is good. Another is that Windsor clicks are good. And, you know, I could say some things about building a Asteri when it's not that easy to spend all of your tech anyway, right? Like here you floated blue to get a Asteri, and you had to invest a bunch in conduits to get to the position where you could do that. I don't like that from either player, really. Just build base set attackers here. Asteri is such a big monetary commitment. I guess if you have 30 drones, maybe you can fit in Asteri, but even so, you're teched for Windsor, which means you have like a ton of red and blue. You can't comfortably do that while getting the Asteri cannon. This guy tried the Oride Core and Reservoir to make it look like he wasn't floating a bunch of tech, but really, like, he doesn't want either of these that badly. Maybe Reservoir. Again, I don't really understand the unit. It sort of produced a convincing endgame where it's like, haha, you're getting murdered by all these force fields. But I think we were well ahead even without all this nonsense. This just made the ending more obvious. Alright. Well, let me know what you guys think of this alternate format where I look at the replay first. I definitely prefer the other one. And I'm going to go record another episode, like, now-ish. And I'm going to go back to the old format. But if I get a lot of comments saying, like, yeah, this format was great, I love that you didn't think about the set, until it had already happened. I guess I'll stick with this then, if you guys like that. Anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.